So retirement is up on the horizon, and you want to make sure that you have enough money to last as long as you live. But there's one stumbling block in your way, one massive mountain that you've got to climb, one thing that's perhaps keeping you up at night, and that is tax. Now, you've paid tax your entire life. Every time you earned your salary, you've been paying tax. You even paid tax when you went to fill up your car. It's just been tax, tax, tax. And now when it comes to your retirement, the tax is even more severe. What I want to share with you is SARS has multiple ways in which they can tax you. And it doesn't help that the Income Tax Act is sort of written in a language it's very hard to understand. Well, what if I said to you that there are just 3 simple techniques that you need to know in order to ensure that you keep your tax to an absolute bare minimum? Well, this video is going to show you exactly what you need from start to finish. Now, if you haven't watched the previous video in this series, I go through a basic introduction on tax there. When you're done with this video, I want you to ensure that you watch it. And then the next commitment I need from you is ensure that you watch this video at least 2 times. And the reason for this is I'm doing this tax planning on a daily basis. In fact, I've saved over 100 million Rand of tax for retirees since the last few years, since 2006. So it's second nature to me. But I'm guessing for you, this is something that you're doing for the first time. It's the first time that you're retiring. So I want you to understand that you've got to get the framework correct and then see how you can implement this. So let's get started. 3 secrets in order to ensure that you're paying the absolute minimum in tax. First off, from a lump sum perspective, and I'll explain to you what a lump sum is, you have a pool of money that's coming either from a pension fund or a provident fund, or it could be from a retirement annuity, right? These are the 3 retirement sources where money can come from. You could even have 2 of these or all of these, but you've at least got 1 of these. Now, the lump sum I'm referring to here is you could access 1/3 of this in cash. So you could take 1/3 here in cash. Now, I want to focus on the tax in this aspect, right? So how much is SARS going to tax you if you had to take that 1/3 out? Now, to make this example more meaningful, I'm going to use a figure, right? Let's just say that your retirement capital is 6 million Rand. Now, in order to get the 1/3 value, we're taking this retirement capital and we're dividing it by 3 in order to get 1/3. What that means is you would have access to 2 million Rand, and that's your amount that you could take as a cash amount, right? As a lump sum cash amount. Now, I'll talk to you just now about the balance of the money here, but for now, we're focusing just on the 1/3 aspect. SARS uses a special tax table when they're taxing this lump sum of money, and I'm going to guide you on that right now. Now, you don't have to know the Income Tax Act. In fact, I'm going to make this extremely easy for you to understand. This is the tax guide for when I shot the video. I want you to make sure that you're watching something that's current or that you're looking at a current tax guide when you're working with this. So you're heading down to this section where SARS speaks about a retirement fund lump sum tax benefits. And you can see the way in which SARS operates is on a sliding scale. So the more money you're taking out in cash, the more tax you're going to pay. In the beginning, for the first Rand to 500,000, there's no tax. But as you move higher, you're going to notice it's jumping from 18% to 27% to 36%. So it's moving up, right? So again, the more you're taking out, the more tax you're going to pay. One of the things that you could consider here in order to keep your taxes to a minimum, heading back onto the iPad, is you could opt to take a lower amount as a lump sum, meaning you have 2 million Rand here. You know the first 500,000, again, using the current tax table I'm using, the first 500,000 is tax-free. You could opt to take 500,000 tax-free. So it's one option. If you do that, you know you're able to save on tax. The challenge behind this, by ensuring that you are taking such a low amount, you just need to make sure that you have enough to last you for all the things that you want to do. Now, what are those things that you might want to consider doing? You might want to look at doing some form of travel. You might want to do perhaps a renovation in your home, or you might want to get a new set of wheels. You might want to give some of this money to your kids. It could be different types of holidays, local or abroad, but you want to be very, very clear on what you want to use this lump sum of money for before you actually make a decision on the amount to take out. Now, why I'm sharing the secret with you is if you opt to take out 500,000, the balance of the money is going to be invested here, right? And that'll be used to pay you an income. The challenge is you cannot go back in for another lump sum. So on this end, when it's invested to pay you an income, you're earning an income, but you can't take that income and on top of that, another lump sum. The money is sort of tied away. So you want to be very clear on how much you want to take as a lump sum. In addition to that, I want you to be extremely mindful that SARS has different ways to tax you. So my example is very clean and neat. I haven't factored any other circumstances that could come in, meaning SARS looks at all three vehicles in the same way. What you do with one affects the other. So from a tax perspective, again, you want to be very clear on how these vehicles are managed because it could open yourself up to other opportunities for SARS to tax you. Best to get some good, proper financial advice in order to guide you. But now you know the framework. You want to pay attention to lump sum tax. The next tax I want you to focus on is on income tax. Now, I know that seems pretty weird because you've been paying tax your entire life. Well, SARS is not going to forget about you when you come to retirement. They're still going to want to see what income you're earning, and that income is still subject to tax. So what am I referring to here? On the 2/3 component, in my example, that 2/3 is 4 million Rand. This is going to be invested and it's used to provide you with an income. Now, that income itself is subject to tax. So that income is subject to tax. Let's go and have a look at an example, right? So assume that your monthly income, so let's assume that your income is 30,000. This is just an example. And let's also assume that your tax, in my example, is 3,000. Doesn't seem like a lot of money, but you want to be very careful again with how you do the tax planning because over a period of time, this could amount to a lot. So 3,000 Rand a month times 12 months. So 3,000 over the 12-month period. That is already 36,000 that you paid in tax. Now, what happens when we start to look at a time period? So let's assume we want to work this over 5 years. So that's 36,000 over a 5-year period. Just want to do the calculation for you. That's 180,000 tax that gets paid on income alone. Now, this is something that's so unassuming because most people are not focused on this. And most retirees that I've noticed believe that this tax can't be avoided. So there's no way in which you can do it. The secret is with proper planning at the beginning of your retirement, you can put steps in place to ensure that this tax is kept to an absolute minimum, right? And you can see the higher your income, the more tax you're going to pay. Now, I want to head over to one important thing to share with you on the tax guide. And here I'm looking at the top section where it's got income tax for individuals and trusts. So one of the secrets I want you to pay attention to is same, taxes worked on a sliding scale. So the more income you earn, the more tax you're going to pay. You'll notice from the beginning, according to this tax table, it's 18%, jumping up to 26, jumping up to 31 to 36. So you might be tempted to reduce your income, but if you're reducing your income, you need to ensure that that income is sustainable for the next few months, that at least for the next year that you can manage with it, right? Now, in the next video in the series, I'm going to be talking to you about the different income options. So you want to make sure that you watch that because that then guides you on how you can get some kind of flexibility on the income, right? Where you don't get stuck into this. Especially if you're going to draw a lower income in the beginning, you want the flexibility to take a higher income later on. Now, why am I saying a higher income later on? Here's another secret. When you turn 65 and older, you get what is called a secondary rebate, meaning SARS allows you to earn more income and you'll pay less tax on it. So the rest of us that are below 65, we have a primary rebate. We're only able to earn a certain amount of income before we pay tax. And when you have when you're 65 or older, you get another rebate. You also get other benefits in terms of interest, and your medical aid changes as well. So you get lots of nice tax benefits coming at 65. And when you turn 75 and older, then you get another tertiary tax rebate. So you want to be mindful for this, and you want to make sure that you're planning for that, right? This helps you to keep the tax to an absolute bare minimum. Now, there's one other secret I want to share with you, and this is gonna surprise you. It's again one of those things that most retirees I've observed don't pay too much attention to. And this is the tax on death. The tax on death. Now, why this is so crucial is you have a pool of money. I'll call this your capital, right? That's your money. Chances are you've got people that you love and care for, and you want this money to pass on to them. This could be your spouse, this could be your kids, this could be other family members. But you want to make sure that this money is going to them. Now, you need to make sure that the planning is done in advance for this, because if it's not, at the time of you passing away, this is where SARS can come in and tax. And the tax is quite severe in this case. And the reason for that is SARS does not tax your beneficiary. I know this sounds weird. They don't tax your beneficiary. That tax applies to you. So SARS makes an assumption that you're actually withdrawing this money. Depending again on the income option that you've chosen, they tax you as though you had taken this money a day before you passed away. So you want to be extremely careful about this, because again, the tax can be quite significant, especially seeing as the pool of capital you have is a lot. So in this case, I've used 4 million Rand in my example. And on that 4 million Rand, just doing a basic tax calculation for you, if it's at the highest percentage, I won't go into the exact details, but you're looking at about 1.5 million Rand in tax here. So it is a significant amount of money to lose. And imagine what that could do for the people that you love and care for. So you want to get this tax planning done early. Now, last thing I want to share with you is, if you're watching this video, this is before your retirement. This is a key period. So you have this period from here, now, up until X, which is the time that you actually are going to leave. You want to make sure that you get your tax planning done early. So as early as possible, you want to start the tax planning, because that ensures your success. If you're going to leave this for the last moment, suddenly you're going to find yourself under a lot of pressure, because you have to factor the investments, the income, how much is needed as a lump sum, multiple different areas to factor, and it can be very overwhelming. Whereas if you put yourself in a position where you start your planning now, you can put correct steps in place so that at the time that you're leaving, you know exactly what to do. You know exactly how you're going to keep the tax to an absolute bare minimum. Now, one of the keys here is ensuring that you have someone who's holding your hand, taking you through the step-by-step, and who knows how to do the financial planning properly. If you're looking for an expert who knows how to handle the tax well and who's specializing in retirement planning, then I encourage you to reach out to me. You'll find my details in the description below. Now, if you found the video helpful, you can give me a thumbs up so I know that this has been good for you. And I also want you to comment in here. Tax is something that is highly complicated, so share with me. What are some of the other questions that you have around this? How helpful has the video been for you? Post your comments below so I can track your progress. Now, remember to subscribe to the video and don't go too far, because the next video that I'm going to shoot right now is going to guide you on what are your income options at retirement. I'll see you in that video.